I just wanted to share my hobby with you because I think it's so much fun and we'd like to encourage as many other people to get into it as possible. We need to have lots of miniature addicts out there like myself. I've been addicted now for about 15 years. I started about 20 years ago. Then it became something, it had to be in your bloodstream, you know, you had to get a miniature fix every now and then. The thing that interests me the most is reproducing rooms that I've seen in different places. And I'm a huge Monet addict as far as art goes. I love Monet, he's my favorite artist. And we went to see his house and his garden outside of Paris. And I was just totally enraptured by the whole day. I spent time going back from the garden into the house, into the shop where I bought almost everything they made. And he had a beautiful yellow dining room, 2 different shades of yellow, and a blue kitchen. And I decided that one day I'd have to duplicate those in miniature. And then when I saw that garden, I thought, oh, nobody could ever do that garden in miniature. That would really be too much. I decided that I had to try to reproduce a little bit of the garden, even though I had never made a miniature flower. But there was someone that I knew that did that at Miniatures from the Attic. Her name is Betsy Johnson. We call her the Flower Lady because she loves to make miniature flowers. So I figure there are probably 10,000 petals and flowers, petals and leaves in that one project. It took us 6.5 months, each of us working about 10 hours a week. It's a huge number of hours that we spent on that project, but I think it's the most unique thing that we've ever done, and people really seem to appreciate wherever we've taken it to show people. They say, my goodness, I've never seen anything like this. Some miniature artisans in California went to Giverny, Monet's house, and copied the tiles exactly and made little sheets that you could use to make the kitchen. And they said they were going to teach a class on how to make Monet's kitchen. I said, well, I better make Monet's kitchen. Then I wanted to have some of the foods that he liked in the room because he had a lot of good recipes and really nice pictures of the food in there. So I had an artisan that I know that makes miniature food make some of his favorite things. He had this cake that's green. It has green frosting on the top, and so I had her make that cake. And there was a special meat dish with all these different ingredients in it, and she duplicated that for me. And then I said, I'd like to have you make a fish. I wanted the cook to be working on a fish because he loved the fish out of his pond. He had a beautiful, this big water lily pond, and he raised fish there, and he loved to eat those fish. She said, I'm sorry, only God can make a fish. I said, no, I really need to have a fish. And she made me a fish, and it's a very nice fish, and that's in the kitchen, Monet's kitchen. Well, then I sat and I thought, now this is silly. You love Monet, but you have none of his paintings in anything that you've done. So I thought, well, I better do his studio. So I had a friend actually copy some of the paintings. She did about 12 paintings. And then I realized that you could do that on the color copier. You can use paper that looks like canvas, and you can have a picture copied onto it. So I reduced some pictures from the library books again. Now they won't let you do that anymore unless you say it is for an educational project, which this was. It wasn't for sale or anything. Then at that same convention that we had here in Washington, one of the doll artists made a doll that looked so much like Monet that I just couldn't stand it. I wanted that doll more than anything I've ever wanted in my life. I waited for about a year and she made me that doll. And he looks so much like Monet. He even has his cigarette in his hand. Monet never went anywhere without a cigarette in his hand. Every picture you see of him has his cigarette. So I was real happy. I finally had his studio and all these nice pictures, and now I can look at those anytime I want to. I went and saw the movie Titanic, and that was my next obsession. My husband says, well, at least every couple of years you change obsessions. First it was Monet, and now it was the Titanic. And that movie just brought it to life for me. I had never really thought that much about it. I'd heard that it had happened and everything, but putting Jack and Rose in there just made it so real for me. And I thought, I don't want them to be separated, and I hate that staircase. It's a character in the movie, and it's keeping Jack and Rose apart. So I made the staircase, and I put Jack and Rose on the staircase the one time they were there together when he was invited to dinner in first class, and my Jack and Rose are going to be together forever. So.